Please help me welcome on stage Dr. Godfrey Chisang, who's the CEO of the North Rift Economic Bloc, that's NOREB, to give welcome remarks as well. Check what.
Your Excellencies Governors, Your Excellencies Deputy Governors, Honorable Members of the County Executive Committees, Permanent Secretaries, Chairmen of Economic Blocs, Chairmen, CEOs and Managing Directors of state agencies, directors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say all protocols observed in the interest of time. Good afternoon, good evening. The role of a CEO in such an evening is usually to be the resident clown. And the only reassuring thing there is that resident clowns are not people of immense talent. So I'd like to welcome everyone here to Eldoret, to the North Rift Economic Bloc, to this dinner tonight. This is a very, very important event. It's an important milestone in the history of the development of economic blocs because over the last 10 years, it's been about devolving government, bringing government close to the people, bringing democracy close to the ground. On the sidelines of that has been the emergence of economic blocs in the region. And this is an important event because we are seeing a marriage of the Kenya Investment Authority, which is the agency that is tasked with driving investment into the country with economic blocs. As we heard the President speak during the devolution conference, the sense, my own interpretation and how I understood him was that his indication was that we are coming down to the counties and making the counties the drivers of economic transformation. So tonight, we will be signing a collaboration framework between the Ken Invest and the various economic blocs that are represented here, which have been highlighted. And this begins a long journey, a long transformative journey, where we will be driving investment not only at the national level, but coming down to the county level. I won't speak too much and just say that for the North Rift Economic Bloc, we were established in 2015 with a vision that set two very clear dual imperative. One is prosperity, the other one is development. The two go hand in hand. And over the last 5 years, we've worked very hard to create the institutional framework for that. Right now, we are at a point where all the county executives have approved the NOREB bill. The next stage will be to take this to the county assemblies who will establish as in law, which will bolster the institutional framework, our institutional framework, by supporting the cooperation agreement which has already been signed by all our governors. On the peace side, we're very keen to develop a strong systematic program that intervenes in the region. 5 of our counties, Turkana, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Samburu, and West Pokot are currently in conflict, as you all know, and we see that as a new frontier of investment. So we are very excited that Ken Invest is working with the North Rift Economic Bloc and the other economic blocs to open up these new frontiers of transformation. Karibuni Eldoret tena. Everyone has experienced Eldoret for the last week. And what should be pretty obvious here is that this is athletics in this region. And in fact, over 95% of all the gold medals, all the medals that have come to Singishu County and Elgeyo Marakwet. I won't speak a lot because I think for the last week, everyone has been witnessing what's going on in the North Rift region. And I think what I just want to emphasize to our partners from the different economic blocs, but very importantly, Ken Invest, is that one of the macro trends that we see in this region is the expansion of urbanization. Eldoret is turning into a city, but there are sets of small towns and cities. How we see this region emerging Kapsabet, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kapsabet, Eldoret, Iten becoming one super city. You already see this when you're driving towards Kitale, from Eldoret to Soy and all that. We have one of the fastest growing cities here, not just Eldoret, the other one is Kakuma, and I think urban centers are usually centers for economic transformation. So we very much welcome this cooperation framework that we're talking about, and we really look forward to turning this into the vision that the Kenya Kwanza government has of bringing investment promotion down to the grassroots and setting up counties as the central nodes for economic transformation in the country. Allow me to welcome you again and stop here. My chairman, Governor Stephen, His Excellency Governor Stephen Sang is here, and he will be speaking for our region. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Dr. Eri. Thank you very much. And of course, highlighting and emphasizing the conversation of counties being the last mile for development as well. And just to get a deeper perspective on that, we'll hear from Mr. Emmanuel Nzai, who's the CEO of Jumuiya ya Pwani. He's going to be making a presentation, so I kindly urge you to take a vantage view of the screen in front of you and also on my right, so that you can just follow through on the economic potential we're talking about and what is the view, and you can see that they're changing the story. So over to you, Bwana Nzai, to continue. Karibu sana. Tumpigeni makofi tafadhali.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency Governor, Governor Sang, who is also the whip of the chairs of the COG, and our host governor here. Your Excellency Governor, Mwadime, Nyeri Governor, Deputy Governor, P.S. Abubakar, all distinguished ladies and gentlemen, hamjambo. Hamjambo, tusikie sauti. Very good. That sounds a little better. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Nzai. I'm the CEO of the Regional Economic Bloc of the Kenya Coast, the first blue counties. So I'm here and I want to recognize all those from Jumuiya counties za Pwani walioko, tafadhali simameni tu. Simameni tu nyote. Your Excellency Governor, poleni. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Apologies from our chairman, the governor of Kilifi. He was here, but very well represented by the DG. And two governors who are here today, Governor Mwadime and Governor Dado Godana, who is outside but on his way. I have very few minutes which I need to utilize very, very effectively to one, tell our story of Jumuiya, but also tell the story of economic blocks, short version. This conversation started literally 2-3 weeks ago. Kenya Investment Authority came to the coastal region to have a conversation with the chair, with the PS, with the MD. And out of that conversation, it became very, very clear that we needed to deepen this conversation, and time was not on our side. We decided that we will take advantage of this, and we staggered it so that it becomes at the end. And the tip end is good because with that, while we lose others going home, but we get to have our way forward. So our way forward here, what we are bringing to you is collaboration. We're saying we need to collaborate for us to bring in everything that we have talked about at that conference, which was very well articulated. His Excellency the President talked about economic blocks in his paragraph 41, that it is the right way to go. That's where the opportunities are. And we are here to now operationalize that evocation that was done. But a really quick one for you to probably comprehend. This is a true innovation by the county governors and the county government's mandate. The coastal region became the first one in 2015, where the governors simply say, look, we have all been one people tonight, our Pwani, separated by these boundaries, but all our problems are common, and we need to be able to talk about our natural resources and how we govern ourselves and how we speak and be able to advocate for a region to bring about regional economic development. And so with that,
Check. 1, 2.
marginalization and weak political unity. And we said this is a vicious circle, but we need to change this story because we have the best natural resources, we have the blue economy, we have this all land that we have, but yet we host the poorest person in the country. So we said we have to change this story. And the first instance of changing the story is the 6 governors coming in together to think of them as one economic cluster. That story was happening across the country with other economic blocs. We then defined our mandates, and we said our mandates are not to supersede the national government, to supersede the counties. We are instruments of the county governments altogether, and we say they are, and they talk about bringing policy harmonization of the CIDPs. We needed to bring promotion of the regional assets in terms of tourism and for them to create county investment companies. And today I'm happy to say Mombasa County has gazetted. They have a CEO and a board. They have actually tendered right now. Kilifi County, Tana River County, Taita Taveta, the newest, the governor is here. We are operationalizing that and looking to launch probably at the end of the year where all the 6 counties have these county investment companies. Laikipia has one, I think Kakamega has one, and some counties, a total of out of 47, 14, have these county investment companies. What does that mean? What it means is the PPP conversation, the conversation about blended finance, the conversation of putting grants and loans and all that, we have now an instrument. We have an instrument of land banking, especially out from the coast. And I think this will now be able to change this story and this conversation. We've been able to work through a grant by the EU, a 3.5 billion shilling grant, which is in implementation. It's called the Go Blue, the first investment in the Go Blue, in the blue economy space of its kind. We are hosting in our offices partners, development partners, all in one, a different architecture altogether, UN Habitat, UNEP, Italian Development Corporation, GIZ, all of them with different mandates that we have. What's the, which is one of the commitments that we have, we can invest where we can collaborate, especially the incubation centers. This is all a mix of that. The opportunities that we have are great, and I think you will find it between now and tomorrow when we have these conversations. We have all an alignment with the MOU or Collaboration Framework Agreement that we will sign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've taken a lot of time, but I want to bring in very quickly each of the CEOs who are here, beginning with Simon Gachunia. Simon is also the CEC of Land, Housing, Urban Development of Nyeri County. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dirango Gashunia. I'm the CEO, Central Region Economic Bloc, and I'm also the CC in charge of lands, housing, and urban development in Nyeri County. So today I'm lucky because I have the chair of my region, His Excellency Governor Mutahi Kahiga, the one who will be talking about the region. So I'll not break protocol. I'll not speak the details of the region when my chair is here. So, but I just want to say very briefly that the Central Region Economic Bloc initially was called Mount Kenya, and that's what many people knew about. but we have Nakuru and Laikipia, Nakuru has not touched the Mount Kenya, but they also an integral part of our region. So we decided to change our name to Central Region Economic Bloc, and that's how it's inclusive of Laikipia and Nakuru, all the way to Tharaka-Nithi, Meru, Kirinyaga, and now the other counties of Nyeri, Laikipia, Murang'a, and Kiambu. So I would not want to speak much about our region, but I'll tell you that in terms of our GDP size, we've just done our numbers, and His Excellency will talk about that. We are hosting an economy that is a size greater than 35 African countries. 35 African countries in terms of the GDP that we hold. So in terms of the collaborative approach that we can get and the investments that can spur and come out of this region, it's great, and we look forward to tap into that. So Nzai, in the spirit of that, I'd like to invite you back to invite the CEO for FCDC. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Your Excellencies, governors who are present. I believe the Principal Secretary is also here. All other protocols observed, my fellow CEOs. Good evening again. We are called the Frontier Counties Development Council. I will quickly run through some slides just to give you the magnitude of this economic bloc. And you will also realize at this stage that a number of counties belong to more than one economic bloc. So that is the FCDC. We have 10 member counties, mainly arid and semi-arid, with a total population of just about over 6 million people, contributing, that's about 12% of the population, with an area of 350,000 square kilometers, about 63% of the Kenyan landmass. So we have Lamu, we have Tana River, Garissa, Isiolo, Wajir, Mandera, Marsabit, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu. So you'll notice that Samburu, West Pokot, and Turkana are also part of NOREP. Tana River and Lamu are part of Jumia. I just wanted to show that map to give you the context of this particular area. And when you look at that map and divide it into half from the northwest to the southeast, you will realize above that, halfway, it's all dark. The south of it, it's all lighted up. So this was actually a satellite picture that was taken at night to show electricity distribution in Kenya. So almost 70% of these counties are not on the national grid. I think that's the basis where we have to start from. This development actually follows the railway, and to the south of it, all other indicators will be the same, whether you talk about health, education, water availability, sanitation. All those indicators will follow exactly that particular. So we have a shared common history. We have highest indices for economic development in terms of poverty. Of course, climate change and vulnerability to droughts. Conflicts, because we are also borderland. You can see we are from the Uganda border on the west all the way to the Somalia border on the east up to Lamu. So the FCDC was created sometime in 2016 by the 10, initially 7 governors, and later on 3 governors joined. So we are about 10 now. And this is a county-driven mechanism for accelerating socio-economic development and harnessing collective efforts to address long-term regional problems and opportunities. So we wanted also to change the narrative from marginalization to a land of opportunities. This is where the future belongs. And about a month or two ago, we had a big Kipra conference on ASAL in Kilifi at Pwani University, and the conclusion was that the future, the breadbasket of this country, lies in the north. So I'll just skip that. Great untapped opportunities amid significant developmental challenges. I'll quickly go to the 10 counties, and the 10 governors signed a charter to form this economic bloc. The first 7 governors signed in March 2016, and the other 3 governors signed in 2018. But in of 2019, there is operational within the economic bloc. Now, 7 years on since we were formed in 2016. So the sector priorities for us, of course, naturally, peace, conflict management, and cohesion, infrastructure development. I can tell you that the people who have been born in this country and died at the age of 80 without ever having seen a railway line, because there's no railway line to the north of that. Wajir town, Mandera town, got their first kilometer of tarmac, courtesy of devolution. So infrastructure is a big issue: transport, ICT, health, water and sanitation, human development and public service. And we try to build a pool of professionals who are well-versed in the region and its economic development, and developing what is called a SAD team capacity. How do we work? We work through sector forums, and the sector forums are populated by the county executives of the respective sector. So for example, the sector forum for agriculture and livestock, all the 10 CECs from the 10 counties are members. They're the ones who determine the priorities, cross strategies, and some of the key achievements, for example, in the sector forum for agriculture, is livestock vaccination across all the counties. That is done, in synchrony, developing all the policies with regards to agriculture and livestock. We have the sector forum for water, and we have a water issue. The sector forum for peace and cohesion, the land sector, and one of the key issues, because land is really a factor for economic development. But recently, of course, with the Community Land Act that has come into place, we're trying now to ensure that communities bring these investments. Okay. Just yesterday, on the sidelines of this bank country director, the EU head of delegation, and several embassies to discuss further how we're going to develop the region together. So with those few remarks, thank you very much.
The CEO, Lake Region Economic Bloc, Victor Nyagaya.
Thank you, my colleague, Mr. Nzao, from Jumuiya Pwani. The Excellencies present, the deputy governors, senators who may be here with us, all other dignitaries, ministers from various counties, good evening and welcome. Yeah, this is an occasion, like the first speaker, Mr. Nzao, said, is an idea that came just about 3 to 4 weeks ago when we met in Nairobi with the CEO of Kenya Investment Authority, a very dynamic leader, because the visions she put on the table is what led to what we are doing here this evening. For those who don't know me, my name's Victor Nyagaya, the CEO Region Economic Bloc. I would want to say something brief about the bloc. The bloc is composed of 14 counties, namely Trans Nzoia, which is also a block within. We have Bungoma County, where we have the vice chair of the bloc. I should have started by telling you the chair of the bloc is His Excellency Governor Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o, who is not with us. However, the vice chair, who should be here, I think he's already here, I can see him, is His Excellency Governor. Or to be with us on this conversation, because the potential of growth from among the blocks is so immense that if harnessed properly, that is where the development of this country begins. I want to say that in the Lake Region Economic Bloc, we partner with several organizations and local partners. I don't want all of them, and they've made tremendous impact on our growth and economy in that region. At the USAID, and we share a lot of work between the Lake region and the NOREB, particularly in the area of livestock, because livestock have no boundaries. When we have a problem in Nandi, that problem would very well be found in Siaya. But we work very closely. The guardianship of USAID, we work very closely with FAO. They've done great work. And what they have done in terms of support of per block, per county, to work on the areas of agriculture, promotion of a good climate condition. We are causing havoc all over the world now, very closely with other partners, the to mention so many because really they're numerous. But above all, I would wish to say that Region Economic Bloc as 14 signed the bill forming the blocks. And the quorum of the bloc to have a summit, which they do every 6 months, is 7. And we have always had the quorum beyond 7. We always have 12 to 13 members in every other summit. The next one is due to take place in Bungoma under the leadership of the vice chair. And for your information, the vice chair of the Lake Region Economic Bloc is also the chair of the infrastructure of the bloc. In the bloc, we are structured around pillars, and we have 10 pillars, which outlooks the 10 departments of every county. So each county takes care of a particular pillar. I wouldn't want to go into naming which is that we invite on those pillars. Invite you on the 11th of October. Child being celebrated in Kericho County, because Kericho County leads the pillar of gender, and we have invited all bloc members that we do have amongst ourselves and as blocks. Those opportunities are immense in the Lake region, and my governor, both vice chair as well as His Excellency Governor Sang, and many other governors who are not present here today, we are in a conversation that has gone deep and is awaiting approval and to be propelled at the national level by the two excellencies and others who are not here present, are the flagship projects that the Lake region are looking at. One is the light rail system. The discussions have taken place at the highest level with the Indian government, the Republic of India, to partner with the Lake region to do the inter-county light rails. It is a huge project, it is ambitious, but it is doable because commitments and agreements have been written. What awaits and budgets have been looked at, they are huge, because in the railways alone, we are looking at 4.5 billion USD. And on the area of solarization of the entire lake block so that we can attract manufacturing industries along all our solar parks and economic zones is another 500 million USD. These are monies that we anticipate working together with the Republic of India, depending on how the talks will take place between the leadership of our governors and the leadership of national government. I want to conclude by saying that we do quite a bit, and before I conclude, I would want to, before I sit, ask all the members who are present here, and the representation is immense from the Lake Region Economic Bloc, to stand up and wave and just be recognized. We appreciate your presence here tonight. All the people who've come from the Lake region, please. We shall, as a block, be providing you with our investor handbook, which you can go through and look at the potentials that we have that awaits. Together with the CEO of the Kenya Investment Authority, as Blocs, we plan and we hope to surprise this country to the reality that Blocs are the motherhood of development, going by what you have seen around the world, in European Union and name it. So if, and our president spoke about it, my chair said it, we are excited that it is now in the national agenda, that the Blocs are being recognized as partners in development. With that idea and with that realization that His Excellency the President has put in his speech, the existence of the bloc, we have anything to fear but to rise to all the heights that await us to go. I want to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to listen to me, and I want to say that it is not just Lake Region Economic Bloc, but it is the entire bloc. That is where to go, and that is where the genesis of development of this country is domiciled. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Victor. Now, for sure, we will eat our dinner. We started late, but we're catching up on this time. Your Excellency Governors, just bear with us, but we will finish this on a high note. This moment, I have the honor of bringing now our new partners, Economic Blocs, the CEO of the Kenya Investment Authority, June Kemei. And as she comes, she will come and talk to us about the solutions to some of these problems that we have had, the disjointedness, and how we move forward from here. But Your Excellency Governors, as you are here, one of the biggest challenges we're facing as Economic Blocs is the legal framework to be anchored in law. Currently, the secretariats do not have money. We are depending on development partners. Secretariats are suffering, but we are holding on loyally into this cause. We're very happy, at least there is the Public Finance Management Act amendment, which was drawn from a policy which we created over the last 4 years, the County Economic Blocks policy, which was shepherded by the Ministry of Devolution. We have read it. We think it's a very good amendment which will anchor the economic blocks in the creation of joint authorities. And that will solve our problems. So that's one issue which is there, and I think that's going to open up even the financing of the economic blocks. But that notwithstanding, we are moving forward, especially in collaboration, which has worked well, I think, for all of us. And at this point, to talk about collaboration, let's give a clap to June, our CEO. You've seen 6 or 4 men standing here as CEOs, but for sure we have a female CEO. Mpigie makofi tena.
Much appreciated. Our governors here present, the deputy governors, the CECs here present, our CEOs, distinguished investors, key stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. All right, this is a great day, the beginning of economic transformation for our country as we live to the spirit of bottom-up. The national government has made it very clear that the deficit that we have in our budget, as well as the economic plans, will be driven by investments. What does that mean? It means that we must attract foreign direct investment, and we must grow our domestic direct investment. Who does that? That's the mandate of Kenya Investment Authority, a government entity established under an act of parliament, whose role is to promote, facilitate, and ensure that we land investors, support them through aftercare. Over the years, Ken Invest has worked closely with the national government to push for ease of doing business policies and all those instruments that are meant to facilitate investment. During the Revolution Conference, we heard from the ambassador of the United States of America, who actually validated Kenya as an investment destination. The country is attractive, but we are not landing investors. Why are we not landing investors? That's the reason we are here today. Why are we not closing deals? We are unable to close deals because we don't have investor-ready projects. We work so hard to attract investors, but once they're in the border, they have no investor-ready projects. Who owns the projects? The projects are a domicile within our county. Every investor belongs to a country. I'll give a case study. During the devolution of the organic fertilizer plant in Kakamega County, that particular project that has attracted 7 billion, we have another great investment called United Greens. This is an investment that has been facilitated by the county government of Kisumu. The Frontier Bloc has managed our blocks to support the investment promotion efforts. What does that tell you? There is huge potential within our counties when we work together to focus and build synergies around investment promotion, investment attraction, and most importantly, investment facilitation. This, the just concluded financial alone, or to say since His Excellency the President took to office, Kenya Investment Authority has facilitated 178 projects with a capital outlay of 74 billion Kenya shillings, out of which 62 billion is foreign direct investment and 11.8 billion is domestic direct investment. Those are reinvestments, investors that we support so that they can either access markets or we support in terms of policies to enhance their ability to scale. And therefore, as we sat as Kenya Investment Authority, we realized that we must have a conversation and just build synergies, because the challenge that is bedeviling us is investment efforts that are disjointed. everyone is promoting the investment in their own way. So Kenya Investment Authority is coming to build a facilitative framework that allows the different economic blocks to plug in and push the economic transformation agenda. And therefore, the agreement that we are signing today will facilitate us to do joint investment promotions. It will help us run joint events. We will jointly mobilize our resources and we will jointly facilitate our investors through aftercare, through the one-stop center at Kenya Investment Authority. His Excellency the President has gazetted the National Investment Council, which is the epic body that will address some of those important strategic investors that then needs to be supported. How do you feed into the National Investment Council? We feed into the National Investment Council by picking your priorities within your county. We run it through the State Department of Investment Promotion, and those that fall within that channel are then brought to the attention of the apex body chaired by His Excellency the President. And therefore, we are happy to note that this is the beginning of a beautiful journey, and we are looking forward to having the support from our governors, our deputy governors, our CCs, to ensure that indeed we push the agenda of investment promotion. We'll also be capacity building our blocks to differentiate between projects that are being funded and actual investment promotion. I think we've been confusing, and you look at some of the opportunities that we might have considered possibly bankable. They're actually projects that have been earmarked for funding by the national government. So going forward, we will build investor-ready projects and then transition them to bankability. I wish to thank you, and I'm glad to be here this evening. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please, for Madam June Chepkemei. Well put. And we are ready for business. I think it's now upon us. I think we're all getting ready to sign these agreements and hit the road running, right? Mine is just to make sure that we are fast into that. But before that, allow me just to invite the next two speakers who will be able to just culminate the discussions that we're having here tonight. Next up on stage, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have the chairperson of Ken Invest. That's Madam Sally Mahihu, who's going to give her remarks. And after which, I'm going to invite the PS. Tafadhali.
Thank you, sir. Mine will be very brief. I would like to actually mention the governors by name because we don't take it for granted that you are here this evening, that you have accepted this invitation. The governors present, Your Excellency, Andrew Mwadime of Taita Taveta. Let's give him a hand clap. Thank you very much, sir. Asante. His Excellency Stephen Sang of Nandi, thank you very, very much. His Excellency Ken Lusaka, I believe he has arrived. Thank you very much, sir, Bungoma. And His Excellency Mutahi Kahiga of Nyeri County, which happens to be my county, so that's my governor. Thank you very much. And the deputy governors present, we cannot take that for granted as well. Dr. Yulita Chepyuriot, Nandi, my sister, thank you very much. Honorable Philomena Kapkori, Zoya, thank you. Honorable Flora Mbetsa Kilifi, thank you very much. And Jennifer Batiani, Honorable of Mugoma. I was just saying earlier on that I am so excited by, and I say this with a lot of respect to the men leaders in the room, but we have so many women leaders in this dispensation in Kenya that we have no excuse whatsoever but to deliver successfully on the mandates we've been given. Congratulations, women of Kenya. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. As I said mine, and I'd like to honor my PS. My PS of investments, Hassan Abubakar. Please give him a hand. This is the gentleman who is in charge of, we sit under him in this, the State Department of Investment Promotion. He is the one that guides us and directs us. And of course, in absentia, Honorable Moses Kuria, our CS, we cannot forget him. Please give him a hand clap. We are grateful. So mine is to thank you very much for accepting our invitation as Can Invest on behalf of my board. I'd also like to recognize two members of my board who accompanied us here today. One is Teresa Chepkwon, and then there's also Florence Wangoi. Thank you very much, directors, for representing the other directors. And for the CEOs of the economic blocks, thank you for this vision. Even as you shared and said that our MD passionately shared with you this vision. I remember in Mombasa, Jumia CEO, you spoke very passionately at breakfast, I think it was breakfast or lunch, about this concept. And I'm glad that it came together when you came to Can Invest and had the meeting. So my few remarks this evening, as I welcome you. Evening marks a milestone. It is a defining moment. And I'm so glad that our president took time to actually speak the blocks, which means that, as somebody just said, we are in the right space. We are actually aligned to the order and to the regime of the day in the plan of the Kenya Kwanza government. Today we get to witness Can Invest, our organization, and the county economic blocks enter into a partnership that will accelerate counties of a national and county investment promotion and investor facilitation efforts. We believe that this partnership will have significant positive impact on the way we package bankable investment opportunities across the counties, improving our value proposition to investors. To the county economic blocks, we assure you that as Can Invest, we're ready to work with you to ensure that investors get to appreciate what. In conclusion, I just want to reiterate that our gratitude to all the guests, your participation. There is not a single investment proposal that comes from the air. It all starts in a county. So without the counties, we cannot honestly say we are facilitating anything. We are facilitating the investments that are birthed from the counties. Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana, asanteni sana. Thank you. Yes, you're right here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Another round of applause. Thank you, colleagues as well. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier this week, just as we were at the devolution conference speaking about the opportunities in the counties, a key word that the PS mentioned was county competitive index and looking at the opportunities within your various counties and how you can actually leverage on that. I found it to be very great and of course was well received. And of course, representing the cabinet secretary at the time, that was an issue that was actually well versed, especially on the panel discussion that we had. So to expound on that and to expound on the national government's agenda on investment within the county, we are honored to have none other than the principal secretary in charge of the State Department for Investment Promotion. That's Mr. Abubakar Hassan Abubakar, who will later invite the chairman of NOREB. No, he deserves a better hand clap, please, to come up.
Thank you very much. Governor, His Excellency Stephen Sang, Governor of Nandi County, and the Whip at the Council of Governors. Governor, His Excellency Andrew Mwadime, the Governor of Taita Taveta. The Governor, His Excellency Ken Lusaka, the County of Bungoma. The Governor, His Excellency Mutahi Kahiga, the County of Nyeri. Senators present, I'm sorry I didn't have your names. Deputy Governors Flora Chebule, Honorable Flora Chebule, for Kilifi County. Honorable Yulita Cheroyot, Honorable Philomena Kapkori for Trans Nzoia County, Honorable Jennifer Mbatiani for Bungoma County. CAC present, Economic Bloc, Mr. Emmanuel Nzai for Jumuiya of Pwani, Kachunia for the Central Region, Idol Farah for frontier counties, Godfrey Sang for the North Rift, Victor Nyagaya for the Lake Region, Chair of KInvest, board members of KInvest, CEO of KInvest, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's the investment future. Because under the concept of the economics of agglomeration, everything is about coming together. You can see at the farmers level, this administration is consolidating the farmers through cooperatives. In terms of products, agricultural products, this administration is aggregating the agricultural products through our county aggregation in industrial parks. In terms of industry, this administration them together into the special economic zones and the export processing zone. In terms of funding, this government is pulling funds together to investment funds so that we can be more impactful. So coming together of these counties, of the counties to form regional economic blocks, it's really the future of the economic space. Let me start by just articulating what does this State Department do. The State Department of Investment Promotion, its mandate is consistently and continuously engage the private sector to identify bottlenecks in the ease of doing business, in the cost of doing business. Basically, to make sure the investment climate and the business environment in Kenya is conducive, with the aim of making this country the best or the preferred investment destination in Africa. With a target, we've given a target of 10 billion US dollars by His Excellency, the President. But the second mandate is to coordinate the promotion of investment, and in particular private investment into the Kenyan economy. Coordination. There's a lot of confusion out there. Everyone is promoting investment. Very fragmented, and this, I believe, is one way of strengthening the coordination and coming up with a solution to the challenges, to the investment challenges in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, when this administration came to power, it faced an economic storm. And this is not a storm in a teacup, but a perfect economic storm. And this storm plunged this country into 3 deficits. The first deficit is the saving investment deficit. The second deficit is the balance of payment deficit in terms of our trade deficit. And the third deficit is the fiscal deficit. Allow me to problematize, or to conceptualize, contextualize, problematize, and hypothesize a solution to this problem on transferring or removing ourselves from this crisis to Kairos. And the solution which was provided by the Kenya Kwanza administration was the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, so that we can have an economic growth and development which is inclusive, sustainable, and resilient. And today, the president was very clear, and the vice president and the deputy president, that the better model is symbiotic with devolution. But to work, it must be powered. For that model to work, it must be. So this is it's a turning point for counties to change, to have a strategic shift from efficiently delivering service to citizens to positioning business community to competitively compete in the domestic, in the regional, and international market. It's about how will the county create an investment climate and a business environment where this private sector investment can flow and create the jobs. So, to me, the counties should not be the last mile connectivity or whatever. Because in our Kenyan investment map, as it has been said, any investment will just land into a county. So the counties will be the first port of call as far as investment is concerned. 2, we want to migrate. This is 10 years ago, counties were called as the new frontier investment market. But right now, I can tell you from where I sit, the statistic I have, it is no longer frontier, but it is the emerging investment market. And from our point of view, we cannot be able to make sure to unlock these economic opportunities and potential, or to tap, or to exploit, or to harness these economic opportunities if we don't work together through the regional economic blocks to ensure that we effectively promote, to attract, to facilitate, and to enable investment in the counties. Let me just give brief strategies of our State Department. We have our investment promotion model is a three-pronged strategy: investment attraction, investment facilitation, and investment enabling. Under investment attraction strategy, we have three sub-strategies. One is to strengthen our investment climate and business environment. And this is what people have been selling throughout. But investors don't buy climate. They don't buy an environment. So our second strategy is to develop investment-grade opportunities. And that is why we need to work closely together with counties so that we can develop the competitive advantage and the comparative advantage of the counties, and also identify specific projects of value chain in terms of its bankability, define it, package it for effective promotion to attract the investment. And the third sub-strategy is aggressive campaign of both the climate and those bankable investment opportunities. And our investment facilitation strategy, we now have a three-pronged strategy. One, we have to invest from being a one-stop center to a one-start and one-stop. One start and one stop. A facilitation strategy. If they frustrate you instead of facilitating you, there is an appeal mechanism to the National Investment Council chaired by investment which comes through. It needs to be financed. So in Kenya, although I know we have a robust financial system and a deep capital markets, but in addition to that, we have three other sub-strategies to assist investors to come in. One, of course, it is the public-private partnership. Two is establishment of special economic zones and export processing zone, where when the investors sit in there are fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. And the third one, in my State Department, there's a bank, there's an institution called Kenya Development Corporation, which is like Kenya Development Bank. Its job is to okay? So when an investor comes in and then they want to see the Kenyan skin in the game, they are able to put something, and then they can put the rest. And that providing at least the first 10% to enable the investments to flow. Ladies and gentlemen, which is housed in my State Department, is Business Reforms and Transformation Unit. Under it, there's a Kenya Investment Authority, the Export Processing Zone Authority, the Special Economic Zone Authority, and the Kenya Development Bank. So that is the ecosystem which is provided for under that State Department. And I want you now to make sure it is clear in your mind on how private investment will be facilitated by this State Department. With those few remarks, what I want to affirm and reaffirm my commitment in this collaborative journey to support this collaborative framework so that it can be able to achieve the objectives of this partnership, which it is to solve unlimited coordination in our investment promotion framework. My message is clear. 2, county government needs a strategic shift from just delivering services to the citizen to positioning business community to competitively compete so that we can reduce their dependence on the exchequer. We can only reduce dependence on the exchequer if we can build their own source and also attract private investment. And 2 is to collaborate with our Kenya Investment Authority identifying the opportunity, defining them, packaging them, and effectively promoting them for shared economic prosperity. Many remarks, let me take this opportunity to introduce and invite the whip of the Council of Governors, His Excellency Stephen Sang.
Let's appreciate our peers. Asante sana. Excellency Governor colleagues, Deputy Governors, Can Invest, the board, chairperson, CEO, and all the CECs present, all our potential investors, good evening. Now, I had my written speech, and the speech was written by myself and my CEO. But somehow, when the CEO made his remarks here, he gave my speech word for word. So, your guess is as good as mine as to who wrote the speech. So basically, Dr. Chesang, my CEO, has shared literally what I would have said about my regional economic bloc, NOREB. I am very sure that also I am speaking for my colleagues that they are CEOs, both Pwani, Jumuiya ya Pwani, Lake Region, FCDC, Central, which other one represented? I think those ones, the ones who are here. Sekeb, South, Sekeb one. I think our CEOs have done a good job. What we will want to do ourselves is to limit ourselves to just a few comments. Then we can proceed to the signing ceremony. First, I want to take this opportunity to, in a very special way, thank Invest, Madam Chairperson, the board, Madam CEO. Thank you so much for thinking about this this forum for us. We are very grateful as counties that you found, and as economic blocks, that you found time for us to have of the scale on the basis of investment potential in our individual counties. And we thought that coming together as regional economic blocks would help us address that particular challenge. The second realization is that of power and resources, counties will never achieve their objective if we do not deal. And therefore, devolution, and that you have a very big person called Excellency Governor, you have a very big person in the name of an MCA, does not change the lives of our people. Look out for investors jointly when you have viable economic units in the name of regional economic blocks. And the question then comes in, who are our partners? Who can we work with? National government, for example, is one of our key partners in that agenda. Because for you to do infrastructure, the major infrastructure work that are needed in our counties cannot be done effectively by county governments on their own. We need good roads, we need power, we need all these infrastructure needed by investors in our region. That can only be done by national government. The other second group that we need are development partners. How do we reach out to development partners? How do we engage with them? How do we attract? And if you heard what some of the CEOs were saying here, a number of our regional economic blocks already have engagements with our partners. The third group is the private sector. How do we engage the private sector in our endeavor to undertake economic transformation? And basically around these three areas, whether you are talking about engagement with national government, with development partners, with the private sector, one key element comes out very clearly, the aspect of positioning our economic blocks and our counties. We had an opportunity yesterday to launch one of that we launched yesterday is a bankable, investment opportunities in our counties. I had time last night to look at the document in detail, and clearly there is still some bit of, I focus on my own county, and I don't think that we did a good job in terms of presenting the actual potential available in our county. And part of the reason why we may not have done a good job is this subject of investment is not just a simple investment of saying you are going to talk to investors, come and invest. It's more of a technical subject that requires some bit of expertise to support us in that agenda. And clearly, if you look at that document, you can clearly read that, we may have tried the best that we could, but there is a lot to it in terms of really working out and positioning our counties and our regions as economic hubs. And that's why this event this evening couldn't have come at a better time than today. That we are sitting down with a government entity charged with the responsibility of supporting this country to attract investment. We want to submit to you, Madam Chairperson, that all our regional economic blocks and our counties require the support and the expertise of KenInvest to support us in profiling our counties, in bringing out those potential economic opportunities. And that is why we are very happy today that we will pen this collaboration agreement. And I can tell you, beyond, I think you have a session tomorrow with our CEOs, CEOs of our regional economic blocks and some of the teams within our economic blocks. Starting from next week, we will not give you rest because we need you to support us as county governments, as economic blocks, for us to work out this particular exercise of positioning our counties in readiness for investment opportunities. I am aware, for example, that there is one potential investment that we almost that KenInvest, through your participation as KenInvest, you are almost inking an investment opportunity in Trans Nzoia, for example. Trans Nzoia is known, Madam Kafkori, as the breadbasket of our country. Our farmers go to the farm, they do their maize. This year is just going to be one of the biggest bumper harvests that we are going to have, courtesy of the, subsidized fertilizer and the subsidy by the Trans Nzoia County government also in terms of seeds and farm inputs. But for a very long time, our farmers have only looked at the maize farming, and the only product there is maize. You shell, you take it to NCPB, or you sell to private sector, that is the best that you can get. This potential investment, you would not believe, seeks to utilize the maize cobs. That once you have the maize, and you have shelled, you have already sold, that which has been considered useless now has an investor coming in to mop up the maize cobs and, and the process, and you have a huge enterprise or account of maize cobs. This is exactly what we need to do, maximization of what we produce. Our sugarcane industry, for example, down here, it doesn't make sense, Governor Lusaka, that working on other more valuable products from sugarcane, that sugar becomes a byproduct. But here in Kenya, that is the main thing that we are going for. And that explains why our sugarcane farmers continue to languish in poverty, despite the huge efforts that they put to their farms. And that is why we are hopeful and very excited with this collaboration agreement that we are signing today, that we are enlisting this important partner from the national government to support county governments and regional economic blocks to position ourselves in readiness for investment. We are working on CAIBs, the county aggregation and industrial parks. If you look at what we are doing, Madam Chair, we are doing what you would consider hardware. We are working on structures, working on you know, the infrastructure, working on the power. But really, for the KIPES to make sense, it's not about the infrastructure that we are putting together. It's really getting the investors to come into those KIPES. And I don't think that I, as governor for Nandi on my own, have the capacity to work out. I'm told an average of each of the KIPES that we are doing in our counties require between 20 to about 30 or so investors in there. That is a huge work that needs to be done. How do we work with you as Ken Invest? How do we work together as regional economic blocks so that about identification, mapping out and identifying potential investors that will be able to come and take up those opportunities in our KIPES. Otherwise, it would be a tragedy for us to put between 500 to 600 million per county. Then at the end of the day, you have complete structures. Yet you then have one or two small investments with the investors within those KIPES. We are looking forward to partner with you in terms of profiling the opportunities in each of those KIPES within our counties, so that moving into the future, most of the KIPES will actually be done within the next 6 months to 1 year. That means we have very short time to attract huge number of investments across all our counties. We also need advice from you in terms of what are the things that investors are looking for. We are, you know, counties are, we are in the villages. We are working within the scope on the limited understanding of what we think investors are interested in or are looking for. You are the people that have the capacity, the expertise, you interact with them, you know what they are looking for. Can you be able to advise us? And we hope that this framework that we are signing today will give us that close working relationship with you, so that then we can work together and ensure that we pull together and get the economic transformation at the grassroots, so that we can move together as a team. So I do not want to say much more than that. I want to then recognize the CECs present here. Where are our CECs? Particularly Wasingishu, Engineer Martha Cheruto, CEC Trade, is here representing Koti Moja, the host governor. Tumpigie makofi. I am recognizing her because she is here in the capacity of the host. Asante sana. And all the other CECs are here. Asanteni sana. Our deputy governors have already been introduced. Let's just be upstanding. Our deputy governors. Again introduced Bungoma, Nandi, Trans Nzoia, and Kilifi. Pigia our makofi. We now have three of my colleague governors. I want to invite Mwadime Andrew, His Excellency Andrew Mwadime. He had a flight this evening, but he changed his flight on account of the importance of this event. Ya Pwani. Karibu, Your Excellency.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Governor Nandi, His Excellency Sang, Governors President, my brother Lusaka, Hig of Nyeri, Deputy Governors, members of County Assembly, and all protocol observed. Hamjambo tena. Mungu ni mwema. Kila wakati. You know, I don't have much because most of it, our CEO talked everything. The only thing maybe I'll just add is, you know, these economic blocks, partnership with the Ken Invest is a actually positive direction. You know, if we talk counties without without any economy is like knowledge, is like wisdom, sorry, knowledge without wisdom. And you know, knowledge without wisdom is just the same as putting water on sand. You cannot gain anything. So actually, we are moving in the right direction. And devolution, the principles of devolution is exactly what we are moving on. But what I've seen, we are leaving MCAs out of this thing. Ensure each and every sector of devolution, you know, senators, MCAs, we should also put them on the front line. Because when we are talking about these special purpose vehicles, the SPVs, we cannot talk without MCAs. So all of us, let us join hands and move together. And at the same time, on the investment blocks, you know, I never realized, I don't know whether this is the first kind of a meeting to attend. The objective is big. The objective is big. I think maybe half yearly, something or yearly, we should be meeting all the blocks and then share experiences. I'm sure with that, we'll learn a lot. Because when we are talking like what Governor Nando was talking, there are so many things like sugar. Sugar is just a byproduct. And also in some other counties, there are so many things, but we have left them. And right now, our president is concerned on 100% export, nil import. And unless we discuss as a team, that is the only way we can unlock our country and our country too. Without further ado, mimi nina njaa sana nangojea kukula. Asanteni sana. Asanteni sana. I think I'll call upon my brother, Governor of Bungoma. Oh, am I doing your work? Wacha nimekuangalia sikukuona. Wacha nikupatie uendelee.
Tumpigie Mwadime makofi. Huyu Mwadime ni muungwana sana. Thank you so much, Mwadime, for for canceling your flight just to be part and parcel of this engagement today. We don't take it for granted. The next is Governor Bungoma. He is also going to speak on behalf of Bungoma, but also on behalf of Lake Region Economic Bloc, where he is the vice chair. And this is Speaker of the of the Senate Emeritus. Huyu Mungwana maneno yake, you know, he has secured a lifetime pension. So huyu ni Mungwana ambaye amejua maneno ya serikali mzuri. Karibu sana Governor Ken Lusaka.
Thank you so much, my whip. In my previous engagement as a Speaker of the Senate, I would say, looking at the mood in the House, I'll be very brief. Already talked. I'm happy that I was a pioneer governor when we came up with this idea of economic blocks. I'm very happy that today we are here talking about it. And I want to laud the first governors, especially from those regions. I remember with the nostalgia, Isaac, our first chair, the Chopkwony of Kericho, and all those who were there for our vision. And what that tells you is that when you have an opportunity, look ahead. Give a vision, and those who come after you will be able to follow that vision. I think Governor Sang has put it so well that as governors, we are under immense pressure to. Some of us who are doing our last term, we have what we are calling the legacy. It's called a legacy regime. What will I be remembered for? And you'll be remembered for. I read the Bible so much, and I'll keep quoting, that if I asked you today, the longest serving, but what you do in the time that you exist or live on this planet, you will remember. Therefore, this is an opportunity for aggregations, for aggregations, industrial parks. But if we don't manage them well, they are going to be elephants. I don't want to talk about the color. Because we'll have infrastructure like as parks, but we must get the software. And you are the ones who are going to put that software there. As a Lake region, you have been told we have a challenge that we need to address together. And that's the sugar industry, the sugar sector. He has rightly put, we can get 7 products from sugarcane. But as we speak now, we are only getting sugar. It has even collapsed. It's in ICU and is on its way if we don't resuscitate it. Because as we speak now, all sugar factories in Western Kenya have closed down because of lack of cane. Sugar lands in this, if you import sugar, it will land here at 88 Kenya shillings. And on the shelves, we sell it here at 230. So it's easier, it's cheaper to bring sugar cane than produce sugar in Kenya. We must, as a region, now think out of the box. Must we continue producing sugar, or we can use sugar cane to do something else, just like he has rightly said, ethanol and other products. Those are the challenges that we need to sit to talk together as a region. Instead of Bungoma struggling with Nzoia, Migori struggling with Awendo, Kakamega struggling, we are all being hanged together. We either be hanged together or we are hanged separately. So we must think together as a region, as a bloc, and give a way forward. So I think this is an important opportunity for us, assist us. For those who are coming, the new governors, of course you must make a mark. 2027 is waiting for you. You have a date with the electors in 2027. So you must do something that will take you back. For those who are living the legacy regime, we don't also want to ruin our careers by not doing something that will make us be remembered. And that's why I said, I have been very many things in this republic, for those of you who know me. I don't want to ruin my career in Bungoma in the next 4 years. That's why investing together will be very important, so that as I go, people will remember that there was a governor who brought us infrastructure, who made sure that we got a railway line in Bungoma, who made sure that we got this industry, who made sure that we got ABCD. So with those many remarks, I don't want to say those few remarks or without boring you, and you are already bored. I want to say thank you. This is a good opportunity, and this is just a beginning for us. And I want to laud the first ladies of the Lake region, including mine, that they have been in the forefront of championing some of the activities in that area. It has been very lively. I want to challenge the spouses of the other regions to also take a lead, because they have done very many things and they are continuing to do things. I'm told they are meeting in Kericho sometime, I think next week, on the what is the something to do with gender. Support us also. Our spouses also support us, because we are in this together, so that we can take our counties forward. May God bless you. May you enjoy your meal. Asanteni sana.
Let's appreciate Speaker Emeritus, Vice Chair, Lake Region Economic Bloc, and Governor Bungoma. One of the quotes that we keep on remembering him for in the political circles is that somehow a fly must die somehow. But it matters where where the fly dies. One will die in milk, another one will die elsewhere. So that's the essence of life. The final speaker for the day is none other than Mutai Kahiga. This is the chairman, Governor Nyeri, and the chairman of Sereb. One of the things that, one of the issues that we have with is that they managed to take 2 of our counties and annex them to the mountain when they have very little to do with the mountain. But somehow he seems to have marketed himself until he managed to get them. Karibu sana Mwalimu Kahiga.
Asante sana. Our whip is sometimes a tragedy. While I trust the judgment of our lawyer son. But PS, I hope there will be a clincher at the bottom saying there shall be. And our economy is 27 billion Kenya shillings. It's a dollar economy. And it's larger than 37 African economies or 37 African countries. If you want more numbers, in our region, we have 670,000 registered businesses. So, if you target those businesses, you're targeting our lives. Now, we've been able to do a few things as the region. One, we have revived the meter gauge railway that traverses from Nairobi to Nanyuki. We have been able to lobby, and we have 2 lines from Nairobi to Nanyuki. It passes through Kiambu and Murang'a. The second line is the Gilgil-Nyahururu line that benefits Nakuru and Nyandarua, and that gives you a reason why Nakuru are with us. Now, we've reduced the number of trucks on our roads, and this one has increased our tourism numbers, cattle, and grain wagons that connect to SGR. We have also developed and published our first set of economic data set that seeks to entrench the culture of evidence-based and data-driven decision-making. We did this in collaboration with the Kenya Bureau of Statistics. Our bloc has formed closer collaboration between both counties to solve common challenges. An example may be Nyeri and Laikipia. We are neighbors. Sometimes I have a hospital that is just at the border. We have already gotten an MOU on how to work around that. But we have already set up a technical committee to handle issues of revenue collection along the border towns and service delivery. SEREB has initiated the process to harmonize, lower, and eliminate distribution costs for goods manufactured within the region. If you produce in SEREB, you should not be charged punitive distribution costs within the 10 counties. We have guided counties to amend their finance bills towards achieving increased manufacturing jobs in the region. Of course, you know we are most enthusiastic about the industry. Now, we have formed solid partnerships and notable interventions in the health sector. We have worked closely with AMREF, FCDO, CANCOS, and Stop TB, amongst others. That's just who we are as SEREB. But we are excited that the government of Dr. William Ruto is focusing on partnership. The mere fact that counties now are almost certain of disbursement strengthens our regions, and in where we're talking about the CAPS, this is something that is about 60 years late. It should have moved earlier. But as we get to this, we want to say we are to be proactive, and I pray to God that despite you having some government relationship, one of them you won't have is bureaucracy. Because of all those other, you know, we need to move faster, we need to focus, we need to agree. And I think I want to mention something also that I saw as the FCDC was presenting. I mean, it's pointless for me to talk about camels in my region. It's pointless. And in 2024, the same camel is giving us half a liter. There's something wrong. And get the stupid camel to give us 2 kilos of milk. Are we working together? May I wish you a good night. Thank you very much.
If the camel is still giving half a kilo or a liter, I am not sure that the camel is the one that is stupid. Maybe the person. So it's some debate there. We have been joined by our colleague from Tana River. Governor is Excellency Dado. This is a man who served in the military for long. So he's going to be to execute his very brief comments with military precision. Karibu sana, Governor. Karibu. Tumpigie makofi Governor Dado. Karibu sana, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Governor Sang. You forgot to last 2 days that the governors lost because they didn't have their striker in the field. If I were there, the precision you're talking about could have applied, and the senators would not have defeated you. I think most of these things have been said. My colleagues have spoken. Presentation have been done by both FCDC and the Jumuiya CEOs. Very, very brief. I have canvassed before, and that's when I learned properly that partnerships was the best way to handle part of the development challenges that we have in our regions. When I was a member of parliament, to have not Jumuiya, those days used to be the Coast People's Forum and the Coast Parliamentary Forum stories. And we chose to undertake projects just the way the spirit is now here. And we partnered with so many other people, and I think Kilifi then picked a few things, Kwale picked a few things, Tana River picked a few things, myself. And part of the small progress that you see that actually brought me back as governor after losing in 2012 is because of the small things that I did with Canvas that time, USAID and many other partners. But I survived after I lost, and then I came back. So I think this path we've taken is critical, and we need to really come together and ensure that things really move fast if we are really serious about improving the economies of our regions. I think it's critical. Thank you, Governor Sang. Next time, ensure I'm there before you start a match.
Asante sana. Thank you. A round of applause for Governor Dado. So, Governor Mwadime, Chibule talked to Governor Mungaro, Kapkori talked to Governor Natembea. Those are first term, isn't it? The secret to survive, work with Can Invest. Yeah, work with Can Invest. So as we conclude, two things that we want to request that we are making as Council of Governors to national government. One, we are requesting the fast tracking of the enactment of the legislation supporting regional economic blocks. As we speak right now, we can't do much as regional economic blocks because we are not supported by national legislation. When we want to raise resources, when we want to put resources together from each of the various counties, we are unable to do that because the Public Finance Management Act does not allow us to do that. The enactment of that law is long overdue. We are asking the national government, national parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate to fast track the enactment of a law that will support the establishment of regional economic blocks. The second request that we are making on the basis of the increased activity by counties towards establishing county aggregation and industrial parks, we are asking national government to properly resource invest to support us in identification and profiling our county aggregation and industrial parks for purposes of attracting. Now speaking as the whip of COG, we will invite you. I think the real threat now is what Governor Lusaka was mentioned here, that we will have 47 county aggregation and industrial parks by structure. And our fear is that we will have a challenge attracting investment in there. I think this is one of the headaches that we want to offload to, and I don't think that there can be a better person than Ken Invest. And therefore, we want to have that proper engagement with you. You'll be able to share with us your budget. We will work with the presidency and be able to push for a case of resources. Already the national government is giving every county 250 million. That is about, close to about 8 or so billion. We need the same allocation of adequate resources to Ken Invest. So have the headache of thinking about how do you attract investors into our, so that then we as county governments can focus on the areas that we are good at, which is putting the infrastructure and working on the environment, but then help us source for investors. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. Well put. A round of applause, please, to our Chief Whip, Governor Nandi. Asante sana, shukran. I'd want him to just take a seat, sip some juice before I invite him back up on governors and the CEOs of the economic blocks who will be shortly coming up on stage, and after which we'll be able to sign. So have a bit of a musical interlude as we rearrange the podium for our signing. Thank you. So just to issue the directives right now, what we'll do is I'm going to call the economic blocks, the CEOs, to come up on stage together with our acting managing director. So first of all, Your Excellencies, Governors, please karibuni on stage together with Madam Chair at Ken Invest. Yes, sir. Could you, all right, let's stand guided. So, okay, really quick. Madam June will sign, and after which we'll have the CEO, Central Region. Make space. As a lawyer, she has to witness. And for the, okay, now we'll stand for the photo ops. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to FCDC. Asante sana. Thank you. Next, ladies and gentlemen, Jumuiya ya Kaunti za Pwani. Governors wa Pwani wakaribie pia. Thank you. Thank you very much. A round of applause, please, to Jumuiya County. Holds. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Narok Kajiado Economic Bloc. Narok Kajiado Economic Bloc. Next, Lake Region Economic Bloc. Lake Region Economic Bloc. Lake Region Economic Bloc. Okay, thank you. Thank you. A round of applause, Lake Region Economic Bloc. Asante sana. Just to confirm, it was Southeastern Kenya Economic Bloc. Do we have Southeastern Kenya Economic Bloc representatives? All right. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, the North Rift Economic Bloc. North Rift Economic Bloc, our hosts for today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll also ask Mr. Victor Nyangaya. Thank you. That marks the end of our signing of our collaborative framework agreement between Ken Invest and the economic blocks. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, to culminate that. So let me have a picture now with the CEOs. If you could just please come. Thank you. Okay, the first picture now will have the CEOs being flagged by the governors as well. Okay. Thank you. Deputy governors, please. Deputy governors, kindly join in the photo. Okay, that now marks our final picture for the evening, culmination of, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for witnessing and being supportive to this. Thank you. One final round of applause, and now we wish you the very best towards implementation. Thank you. Just as we are standing in this nature, I will Asante sana. Thank you, my colleagues in the media. Industry Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please, we'll just hear from the PS, and Victor, you will give the vote of thanks, and after which we'll just go straight and south, please.
All right, thank you very much. Before we close, just you want to have a seat? So before we close, I would like to lay I would like to allay the fears of the governors of the white elephant story. This administration is deliberate and intentional. There will be no white elephant. As we speak, there's a team already working on economic analysis of each county to identify the value chains, the viable value chain, and we're also identifying the markets for those value chain so that we can showcase. Because for these investors to come, it's not about, of course, it's about the resources, you have the value chains, it's about the infrastructure is there, it's about the market, but at the end of the day, I've said we need to position ourselves in terms of competitive business environment. So we are developing that index, and we're going to rank the counties who are lagging behind in terms of a competitive business environment. So the ball is in your court to make sure the business environment in the county's level is conducive for these private, for the investors to come in. Otherwise, they will not come in. Please help us with the multiple licenses you have. Make sure you consolidate them, you automate them, you reduce the cost of licensing. 2, please help us with inter-county cess, because the investors are complaining that in every county they pass, they have to pay, and that increases the cost of production. If you help us with the business environment, you should not be afraid of having white elephant. Governor Lusaka, there will be no white elephant. You just do your part, and we'll do our part. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers, beginning with our excellencies who have given us wonderful words of wisdom and direction. We want to thank the Ken Invest CEO, whom I said earlier was very passionate about this, and we thank you for making it work together with your chair. And we want to take this opportunity to also thank all the deputy governors present here today, to represent both governors who are not here and to support the governors who are present. We really honor you, and we want to take this opportunity to thank all the county investors of trade, finance, county secretaries, all gathered here together with potential investors who have come here to grace this occasion. We really thank you, and we feel so privileged that you have honored us here today. Our work as clear, and we are going to follow those dictates and the advices that you have given to us. I want to take this opportunity to ask our deputy governor of Bungoma to pray. I was asked to do that, but we don't cook a man. Generally, we want to honor our mothers to do the prayer so that we can proceed to eat. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you so much. We can be upstanding for a word of prayer. Our dear loving Father in heaven, we come before your throne of grace this evening, Lord, with thanksgiving in our hearts. Thank you for this far that you have brought us. We thank you, Lord, for the meeting that has just ended. We pray the Lord, you bind us together with your love. We pray for the food that is before us. We ask you to bless and to sanctify, Lord, for the nourishment of our bodies and your service. In Jesus' mighty name I pray and believe. Amen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That has been a great evening. My name is Laban Cliff. Thank you for being a great audience.